Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going fantastic so far. We've got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. We've got a big MLB slate on tonight and a lot of picks to get to. If you watched yesterday's video, I mentioned about doing something, bringing something back, I should say, from my NBA Player Prop video days and doing the Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. So I have 4 regular picks to hand out, and then I have a 5-leg parlay to close out today's video. So a shit ton, excuse my language, a shit ton of picks to hand out. But first, before we get into those picks for today's video, we have to do a little recap of how we did yesterday. And if you guys couldn't tell by the thumbnail in today's video, we had a complete sweeparoonie yesterday, guys. Really solid day. We went 3-0 on our official picks. You do see there's an asterisk there on the Max Myers over 4.5 strikeouts. I did tell you guys in yesterday's video to take that pick. It wasn't on my official prop record, so therefore that win will not count towards the season total. So Tasso, why put that in the graphic? Well, because I also told you guys to take that as well, and that hit too. So we had a really great day. We were on the money with all of our props yesterday. 3-0 on our official picks, 4-0 on all my picks overall. Again, I don't know why I didn't just add the Max Myers pick to my official prop record. I was kind of running short on time, so I kind of cut it, but I did like that pick. That's why I still told you guys about it. So the moral of the story is we had a fantastic day yesterday. And we are starting a new tradition here on the video series. When we have a night like we did last night, we have to celebrate accordingly. If you win, this is an all sports betting. When you win big, you have to celebrate. And so, officially starting today, we're gonna bring out. We're gonna call it the cash crown. All right, there's a new tradition I'm starting here. We're gonna put on the cash crown here, and we're gonna bring out this old friend, the money gun. Let's go, sweeparoonie, baby. Let's go. Dollar bills, ever like we're in a damn strip club. Let's go. Wins on wins on wins. Guys, comment king down below in the comments if you are watching right now. Ton of great picks to share with today's video. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. All right, guys, we are jumping right into the Outlier screen here. Shout out to Outlier, the sponsor of every player prop video here on the channel. There is a special link down below in our description that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. It's the best sports betting tool on the market. I tell you guys all the time, even if I wasn't sponsored by them, I would still subscribe to Outlier. You guys need a proper sports betting tool if you're going to enter sports betting, if you're going to be serious about your sports betting and to try to win some real money. You need to have a good sports betting tool by your side, and Outlier could be that tool for you. Try it out. 7-day free trial. There's nothing to risk at all. If you don't like it after 7 days, you go ahead and cancel. No cost to you at all. But I promise you guys, it's worth your time. It's worth your engagement, and you will become a better sports bettor by using Outlier. So link it down below in the description, 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. All right, guys, the first pick of today's video. Again, these are the regular picks. I will tell you guys, I'll let you guys know when we switch over to the Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay and when to know when it's a parlay. So this is the first of 4 regular picks. Starting off, Blue Jays Yankees, 7:05 p.m. first pitch. We're going Jazz Chisholm Jr. of the New York Yankees. I hate saying that as a Red Sox fan. Over a half total base. We are getting this for we get it for minus 140 on Bet365. Also available on Caesars, DraftKings, and on Underdog. Again, as always, people make sure to shop around for the best odds available across all sportsbooks. It's an important part of sports betting. All right, so Jazz Chisholm Jr. here. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed just over an 80% hit rate, an average of 3 total bases per game. Since joining the New York Yankees, he is 4-0 and cashing this line with some pretty big games there for the Yanks as well. But even going back to his Marlins days, he's been cashing this pretty consistently. You see overall in 2024, a 69 nice percent hit rate for Jazz Chisholm Jr. 72 out of 105 games this year has cashed the over. It's a 1.68 average per game. And we scroll down below to the key matchup stats. It's okay. It's not the best stat in the world, but it's still pretty solid. You see here the splits for Jazz Chisholm this year in 2024, a 254 batting average overall. It slightly dips to 253 versus right-handed pitchers, but it's the same thing, guys. His BIP, slight decrease, but his ISO has a slight increase, and his extra base hit percentage has also a slight increase. Looking at the head-to-head stats versus Kevin Gausman, it's not great. Only 4 plate appearances since 2018, but he has not gotten a hit or on base versus Gausman since 2018, but again, a very small sample size there. And you see Kevin Gausman this year, 4.44 ERA with a 250 batting average allowed. Versus left-handed batters, the ERA does come down a little bit to 4.21. It's still a little on the high side. And the batting average allowed is at 252, so basically the same thing. The slugging percentage is about the same. The extra base hit percentage, though, is very high. 45.2% is very high. I like that number here, especially when you see Jazz Chisholm has a 37.3% extra base hit percentage. We could see an extra base hit on our hands here. So I don't know what the alternate line would be for bases, but I have it at over a half right now. Might not be a horrible idea to take it maybe over 1.5. Let's see if they have that there. Over 1.5 is plus 180 right now. But I'll stick with that over a half to play it safe, but not a bad idea to maybe consider looking at the over 1.5 bases. All right, guys, our second pick in today's video, we're looking at the Orioles-Guardians game, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Carlos Carrasco, over 5.5 hits allowed here. We get that from minus 108, and Caesar's also available on DraftKings, BetMGM, Prize Picks, and on Underdog. Look at the last 10 games here for Carlos Carrasco. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 5.8 hits allowed per game this year. Not having the best of seasons for Carlos Carrasco, a 5.68 ERA overall on the year as well. Again, you see 7 of his last 10 games. In 2024 so far, a 63% hit rate on this over. 12 of 19 appearances this year, he has cashed the over. You see the hits allowed has been pretty high for Carlos Carrasco this year. Carrasco has faced off with Baltimore once this season already. Back on June 26th, he had 6 hits allowed and what was a 4-2 win for Baltimore. So we do have some head-to-head data to go off of a well there for Carrasco. And going down below, it makes sense. You look at Baltimore's batting versus right-handed pitchers. They're top 10 overall in most categories minus BABIP this season. And even the last 30 games, the numbers, although you see the rankings dip a little bit, still pretty good. 262 batting average as a team versus right-handed pitchers over the last 30 games. Pretty good. You see a lot of green there across the board for Baltimore batting. So a really good matchup there. And you see Carrasco, 283 batting average allowed this year. That is not good at all for him. Very good for us. His BABIP, everything is pretty high there for Carrasco. So a really solid matchup here for this prop. All right, guys, next up, we're moving on to the Padres-Rockies game. That has a 9:40 p.m. first pitch. We actually have 2 props coming from this game here. Our first of 2 and our third prop overall in today's video. We have Austin Gomber of the Colorado Rockies, over 2.5 earned runs. We're going to go ahead and get that for minus 120 on DraftKings. Also available on Prize Picks, Underdog, and on Caesars. Now, looking at the last 10 game data, 9 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over. The only time he didn't was on July 6th versus Kansas City. He only gave up 1 earned run in what was a 3-1 win for Colorado. But you see here overall, he's been giving up an average of 4 runs per game over the last 10 starts. And look at 2024 so far for Gomber. 20 games this year, 12 of 20, he has cashed the over, a 60% hit rate with an average of 2.9 earned runs per game. So pretty good data for us, especially the last 10 games. You see struggling a little bit at 4 earned runs per game over the last 10. Now, the head-to-head data is not fantastic, but 2 of his last 5 meetings with the Padres, he has cashed the over. In both meetings this year, he's cashed the under, which is a little alarming for us, but I'm not too concerned with it here. And the reason I'm not too concerned, if we scroll down below here, it's because the Padres' bats have woken up over the last 30 games. You see San Diego batting versus left-handed pitchers this year. Overall, they're actually bottom half of the league. You see just a 241 batting average. Their OBP, bottom half of the league. Slugging percentage, bottom half of the league. Across the board, you see bottom half of the league in batting statistics on the year. But over the last 30 games, significantly, but they're actually a top 10 offensive team in terms of hitting versus left-handed pitchers over the last 30 games. You see top 5 in batting average, top 5 in OBP, top 5 in slugging, across the board. Really good numbers there for the Padres batting versus left-handed pitchers. So that's what excites me. And you see the last time that he faced off with the Padres, you got to go back to May 15th. So it's been a minute. It's been a couple months that they played, and you see the Padres' bats have definitely woken up of late. I mean, the fact that Austin Gomber has completely changed. You see how he was pitching back then to now. The Padres are trending up, and Gomber's is trending down. We'll go ahead and look at the season total here one more time for Austin Gomber. And you see back May 15th versus San Diego. Okay, he was on a pretty good. He was on a decent start to the year. Since then, it's been kind of icy skating there for Austin Gomber. I don't know, icy skating. Ice skating is always icy for the. Excuse me, a little brain fart moment there, guys. It hasn't been smooth sailing for Austin Gomber pretty much since that matchup. So again, you have two statistics going in opposite directions. You have the Padres batting going up and Austin Gomber's pitching going down. That's a recipe, in my opinion, for a really nice hit here. All right, guys, in the second prop from this Padres-Rockies game and our fourth prop overall in today's video, we're going with Jake Cave here, over a half total base. You can go ahead and get that for minus 135 on Caesars or Bet 365. It's also available on DraftKings and Underdog for varying odds. This prop, pretty good data, really good data on this prop, actually. 8 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over. That's an average of 1.2 total bases per game, which is pretty good. In 2024 so far, a 53% hit rate on this over for Jake Cave. 41 out of 77 games this year, he's cashed the over, an average of 1.04 total bases per game. And if we zoom in here at the head-to-head data, really good numbers here. 6 of his last 8 matchups versus the San Diego Padres, he has cashed the over, including 4 consecutive matchups versus the Padres this year. He has managed to cash the over. He has faced off with San Diego 6 times this year, and 4 out of 6 games this season, he has cashed the over. And an average of 1 total base per game versus the Padres dating back to last year. So pretty good numbers. You see here, again, the last 4 games, including all the games, the more recent series and back in May, he cashed the over. So pretty good numbers there versus San Diego head-to-head. And we scroll down below here, the key matchup stats make me even more excited about this prop. Look at Jake Cave head-to-head versus Randy Vasquez. Really good numbers. 3 plate appearances since 2018. Obviously, very small sample size. But a 667 batting average, 667 OBP. He had 2 hits in 3 plate appearances versus Randy Vasquez. So that's pretty good for us. And looking down below, Jake Cave, 251 batting average this year, which is decent. But versus right-handed pitchers, it does increase to 273, which is actually really good. His BABIP, his ISO, and his extra base hit percentage all have slight increases here when he faces off with right-handed pitchers like Randy Vasquez. So really good for us. And looking down below at Vasquez, not having the best of seasons, 4.82 ERA overall with a whopping 321 batting average allowed this season. Not very good at all. Versus left-handed batters, it gets even worse. If you couldn't believe that it could get worse, it does. 5.46 ERA with a 395 batting average allowed, 589 slugging percentage, and a 25.5% extra base hit percentage. It's the only category that actually sees a decrease versus left-handed batters. But overall, bad numbers here for Randy Vasquez. Good numbers for Jake Cave. And that means, in my opinion, and I think the data proves, this is a really good prop. For minus 135 odds, if you get it on Caesars or Bet 365, again, also on DraftKings for minus 140, I think it's a really good prop to take. All right, guys, so that concludes our 4 normal picks. So those are just straight picks. You do whatever you want with those. You put them in a parlay. You bet them straight up. Whatever you want to do, those are your picks to do whatever you want with. Now coming up, we have our 5-leg Freaky Friday parlay. So these picks from this point on, so cut the video in half. The first 4 picks, those are whatever you want to do with them. These picks are meant to be bet in a parlay together. Again, as always, if you want to take them, do whatever you want with them, that's your prerogative. But the intention here is that this is a 5-leg parlay. We're going to put them all together and bet it together. So let's see what we do here. We got a 5-leg parlay, really good odds. Let's dive in. And just to let you guys know, I will be using DraftKings for this parlay. Shout out to DraftKings. They don't sponsor the video series, but I do use them pretty good. They're pretty good with props. Here we go. First leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're going Jared Triolo in the Diamondbacks-Pirates game, 6:40 p.m. First pitch. Going Jared Triolo here, over half a strikeout. We are using alternate lines. When you're using a big parlay like this, alternate lines are the smart way to go if you're looking to get a certified hit. So Jared Triolo, over half a strikeout. We're getting it from minus 225 on DraftKings here. And that is really good. I'm going to try and fly through the data here, guys, because I don't want this video to be 35 minutes long. We got 5 picks to go through. You see Jared Triolo has cashed this strikeout prop in 7 of his last 10 games, an average of 1 strikeout per game. So far in 2024, a 66% hit rate on this over. 51 out of 77 games this year, he's cashed the over on the strikeout prop with an average of just about 1 strikeout per game this season. And looking at the head-to-head data here, 4 of his last 5 times facing off with the Arizona Diamondbacks, he has cashed the over on strikeouts, including their most recent games here in July 27th. He actually didn't cash the over in July 27th, but in their last game, July 28th, he had actually 2 strikeouts in what was a 6-5 win for Pittsburgh. And look at the key matchup stats here. Jared Triolo, pretty low batting average overall, but you see here a 25.6% strikeout rate. Not very good at all. And you look at I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, the pitcher for the Diamondbacks, Pafad. 28.1% strikeout percentage versus right-handed batters. That's really, really good. So you have a really high strikeout percentage for the pitcher's angle and a really high strikeout percentage from the batter's angle. That is a recipe for a strikeout. So really good matchup here for the first leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, for the second leg of our 5-leg parlay, we're going Royals-Tigers, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Gio Urshela. We're actually doing the same bet we took yesterday, which did hit for us. Gio Urshela under The 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Again, we took this prop yesterday. It was part of our sweeperoonie yesterday. We're taking it again today because it's another solid prop matchup. And again, we showed you the data yesterday. We'll show it again today. It's probably a little bit better. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed this under an average of 0.9 HRRs per game. So far in 2024, a 62% hit rate on this under. 49 out of 79 games this year, he's cashed the under with an average of 1.51 HRRs per game. And look at the head-to-head matchup. 100% hit rate versus the Detroit Tigers dating back to April of last season. 6 out of 6 games with an average of 0.67 HRRs per game. But what really excites me about this is the pitching matchup. Tariq Skubal, who's been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball this year. That is the matchup, and it's a really good matchup. And I screwed that one up. Tariq Skubal pitches for the Detroit Tigers. Apologies for that. But the data is still really good regardless. Apologies for the brain fart. It's a Friday, guys. Weekend is here. We got weekend brain on our mind here. But Gio Urshela versus Ragans of the Royals. You see, the data is still really good. It may not be Tariq Skubal good, but it's really good. 7 plate appearances versus Ragans dating back to 2018. 143 batting average with a 28.6% strikeout rate. That's really good for us there. 143 OBP. You see your Gio Urshela in 2024, a 241 batting average on the year. That number does drop versus left-handed pitchers to 164, which again, for our purposes, really, really good. And looking at Cole Ragans down below, here you see 3.37 ERA with a 2.26 batting average allowed. There's actually pretty good numbers there. And versus right-handed batters, although the ERA does ever so slightly increase, it's 3.39. It really doesn't. It's the same thing. His batting average does drop to 209, which is really good for us. So really good numbers there in this prop matchup here for Gio Urshela. He cashed it last night for us. Let's see if he can do it again for us tonight in this parlay. So that's the second leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, third leg of our 5-leg parlay. Moving on to the Red Sox-Rangers game, 8:05 p.m. first pitch. We're going Ceddanne Rafaela over a half total base. You can go ahead and get that for minus 165 on Bet365, minus 189 on Caesars, minus 195 on DraftKings. Obviously, for the parlay, we're using DraftKings, so minus 195 are the odds we're going to go with here for Rafaela. And the data's really good. 9 of his last 10 games, he has cashed this over, including 7 consecutive games he has cashed this over in hits for the Red Sox, an average of 1.5 total bases per game over his last 10 games. We go ahead and stretch that data out to the last 20. Still really good. 75% hit rate. 15 of his last 20 games, he has cashed the over, an average of 1.6 total bases per game. And in 2024 so far, 64 out of 104 games this year, he has cashed the over. That's a 62% hit rate on the season with an average of 1.5 total bases per game. So really good data there for Rafaela. Look at the head-to-head data. You see he's only faced off with the Rangers twice, dating back to last season. But the last time they played in September of last year, he did have 2 total bases. What ended up being a 15-5 loss for the Red Sox. But, you know, the head-to-head data, pretty small sample size there. If we scroll down below to the key matchup stats, not bad at all. You see Rafaela, 255 batting average this year. That does increase slightly versus right-handed pitchers to 260, which obviously is good for us. His numbers do, though, slightly dip across the board, although his ISO is the same. It shows red, but it is the same number. But his BABIP slightly dips, and his extra base hitting percentage does also slightly dip. Now, looking versus the pitching matchup versus Jose Urena, 3.07 ERA, 2.36 batting average on the year. Versus right-handed batters, though, it increases in our favor. 3.38 ERA, 261 batting average allowed. The slugging percentage gets higher. The extra base hit percentage slightly higher. So across the board, you see green there for Jose Urena. It's a solid matchup here for a player who's been cashing at a 62% hit rate this year. It's minus 195 on DraftKings for a reason. It's a really solid prop to go ahead and throw in this parlay. All right, guys, our fourth leg of our 5-leg parlay here. We're going Rays, Astros, 8:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Yusei Kikuchi of the Houston Astros over 3.5 hits allowed. We're going to get that from minus 255 on DraftKings. A really heavy alternate line, but a really good prop. And the data here is absolutely fantastic. From minus 255, it better be. He's cashed in 9 of his last 10 games, an average of 5.6 hits allowed per game. In 2024 so far, a whopping 91% hit rate on this over. 20 out of 22 games this year, he's cashed the over. Only 2 times he missed it, and he had 3 hits allowed in both those games. An average of 5.68 hits allowed per game this season. So really good numbers there. Even the last 20 games, you see 18 of his last 20. And look at the head-to-head data. Each of the last 5 times he's faced off with the Tampa Bay Rays, he has cashed the over. An average of 6.4 hits allowed per game versus Tampa Bay dating back to last year. The one time they played this season back in March, he had 6 hits allowed versus Tampa Bay. And if all that fantastic data didn't do it for you, down below it gets even better. You see so far Tampa Bay batting versus left-handed pitchers in 2024, top 10 in Major League Baseball, 263 batting average. It gets a little bit better in the last 30 games, but still their rank stays the same. 280 batting average versus left-handed pitchers over the last 30 games. See green across the board there. They're one of the better hitting teams, top half of the league, I should say, versus left-handed pitchers. And again, looking at Yusei Kikuchi, 272 batting average allowed this year, not very good. BABIP is 4th percentile, not good for him, really good for us. But across the board, really solid data there. So really good prop to throw in here. I know it's minus 255, but again, when you're doing these big parlays, 5 legs, 4 legs, 6 legs, 7 legs, you need to have props like this in there to secure the win. All right, guys, we have made it the 5th and final leg of today's Freaky Friday parlay. Our 9th pick I've shared with you guys overall. We're going back to where we finished the last group of picks was the Rockies-Padres game, 9:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going back to Jake Cave. In the original picks, I gave you over half total base. A little different here, a little better chance of hitting. We're going Jake Cave over a half hits, runs, RBIs. We're going to get this on DraftKings from minus 180 to throw into our parlay, although it is available on Prize Picks and on Underdog if you are looking at those other avenues for betting these props. In Jake Cave, really good numbers here. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cast the over. In 2024 so far, a 62% hit rate on the over. 48 out of 77 games he cashed, an average of 1.4 HRRs per game. And the head-to-head data you see here, 6 of his last 8 games versus the Padres, he has cashed the over. 75% hit rate with an average of 1.75 HRRs per game. Again, the other prop was just, he needed to get a hit. Basically, we took over half a hit. We needed him to hit a single, whatever, over half a base. This one, over half hits, runs, RBIs, a little easier to hit because he doesn't even really need to get a hit to get this. Sacrifice fly, he gets on base on a walk and scores. There's multiple ways he can cash this, but all we need is one. We need him to cash one of these categories for him to hit this prop. And again, I believe he'll get a base hit in this game. If he gets a base hit, it automatically cashes. And going down below, I showed you guys the data earlier versus Randy Vasquez. I'm not going to go into it again because the numbers are exactly the same. But again, really good numbers there for this prop. All right, guys, so that is our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys liked having this back. I know this video is a little bit longer. Maybe I'll cut down on the first few picks to save time in the videos if we do this again. I did this for my NBA videos, and it was people loved it. It was a big hit. Let's see if we can go ahead and do this again for baseball. Again, I'll see how you guys respond to it. I love doing it. It's always fun to bet parlay, especially with player props. But there's our parlay, and again, it's very simple with Outlier. This link will be down below in the description. You click it, takes you right here. All you have to do is add to bet slip. It'll take you right to DraftKings, and you'll immediately plug the parlay in. You put how much money you want to put on it. It's plus 664 the odds, so really good odds there for a 5-leg parlay. Again, we took a little bit safer route, but we want to hit plus 664 would be a nice hit. It also shows you guys what you can bet on other sports books. Not a lot of options there. Prize Picks Underdog, 3 out of 5 are available. It's the closest thing. Otherwise, it's pretty much just a DraftKings exclusive parlay. Unfortunately, I don't have the first 4 picks here on this page because if I do, you wouldn't be able to bet the parlay. So you won't find the picks for the first 4 here on this page. You'll have to just go back and rewatch the video. Apologies for that. But yeah, that does it for today's video, guys. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. And I know it's a longer video today, so I appreciate those who stick around and watch the whole thing. I hope it'll be worth your time. I hope you guys win a bunch of money off of tonight's picks. Thank you very much, as always, people, for watching. Until tomorrow, I will be back with another MLB Player Prop video. But until then, I hope we're all winners. I hope you enjoy your Friday. I hope you enjoy your start to the weekend. Have fun, make smart choices, but make sure you have fun. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a good one.